right, everybody. Welcome into Concrete Jungle, New York Baseball Podcast. I am Paul Russo. Welcome in. Happy Thursday. Kyle Evans to my right. Expert furniture and moving person. If you ever need to call him, you can find him at Mayflower at NateSharman.com. Nate Sharman producing behind the scenes. We're coming to you guys live from the FingerWakes1.com studios. Third floor North Park building in Seneca Falls, New York. Quick, and I'll do this again at the end of the show, obviously, but quick programming. Obviously no show next Monday. We will be off for Labor Day, so hopefully everybody enjoys and has a fun and safe long weekend there. But no show next Monday. The plan is to be back next Thursday, but that could shift to possibly Friday. Just kind of depends. We are getting our new studio kind of up and running and stuff like that, so it all kind of depends on how everything falls along that timeline a little bit. Anyway, though, boys, how's the week been so far? Thursday, we're almost to the finish line.
Yeah, it's going well. I think this week, to me, went pretty fast.
Yeah.
Just a lot going on. A lot of high school stuff and college stuff starting, so it's been a little busy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yep, we coming up on here on Labor Day, so that means kind of kids are back in school and back in the high school sports realm, and Kyle gets a little busier, and so does a lot of other people. So
we all get a little
good time.
busier. I'll get a little busier.
Good time of year. I like it.
I don't know. It's always my least favorite time of year in a way. Summer's
Labor Day? You don't like Labor Day?
Summer's exiting.
October.
I don't have a problem with fall, but like summer's exiting. Winter's right around the corner at this point. Like,
Gotta love October. All 4 major league sports are on.
True.
Playoffs.
Plus NASCAR.
There you go. See, so it's a great month.
Yeah. So plenty to get to today. It's been an interesting week of baseball, especially for the MLB teams that we cover with the Mets and Yankees. And we talked about it on Monday a little bit. What is the difference between a good team and an average team at this point? And it certainly kind of kept the trend through the week in a way. Let's start with the Mets. They've only played 2 so far this week. Off day on Monday before the Dodgers came into town. My computer just not wanting to cooperate with me. There we go. Paul Russo versus technology, an ageless battle. So Tuesday was a 4-3 Met loss to the Dodgers. Heath Hembree picked up the win out of the bullpen.
Sox legend.
His third on the year. He's 3-0 on the year. Heath Hembree's 3-0 on the year with a 6.75 ERA. Because what is life sometimes? Yoli Rodriguez picked up the loss, 0-4, a 5.17 ERA. And then former Met this year, Jake Reed, picked up the save, his first on the year. Taijuan Walker, no decision, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 3 earned, 5 Ks. Starling Marte went 2 for 4, a solo home run in there for him. Mark Hanna went 1 for 4 rather, with a solo home run. We'll circle back to this game in a minute because I do want to mention yesterday's game, which was a 2-1 Met victory. Jacob deGrom picks up the win, 4-1, a 1.98 ERA for him. Tyler Anderson, the loss, 13-3, a 2.68 ERA for him. Edwin Diaz picks up the save, his 29th. deGrom went 7 innings, 8 hits, 2 earned, and 3 strikeouts. Starling Marte provided the only scoring offense of the day, hitting a 2-run home run in the first, going 1 for 4. And Francisco Lindor went 2 for 4. So this is where I kind of want to pick up on that trend I started. We discussed a little bit on Monday, and it will kind of be a trend as we look to the Yankees later on a little bit, right? This is an important series for the Mets. The Dodgers are a team that obviously they're going to make the postseason, right? They were the first to 90 wins, have the most wins in the MLB. Their magic number at this point is down below the teens, I'm pretty sure, to clinch. This is very well could have been a prelude to a series that we see in a month or a little bit longer than that in October in the postseason. And the Mets, I kind of preface it a little bit. I know in the description I kind of put it this way. And look, in baseball, you can't win every game. That's expected. That's a thing, right? But, if you're competitive, you'll be in every game. You'll be fighting pretty much every game, stuff like that. And for the Mets, to me, to split with the Dodgers so far, that's a big plus looking at, especially the month ahead for the Mets. I know, Nate, you brought it up on Monday, actually, about how the Mets have, or no, was it you, Kyle? I know one of you guys brought up on Monday that the Mets have one of, if not the easiest schedule in the month of September.
Oh, yeah, I did see that in the New York Post.
So, look, a series like this it's big, right? And they have a big rubber match today that we'll talk about here in a couple minutes as well to kind of really set the table for the rest of the way.
Yeah, and how about Brandon Nimmo's catch in center field last night?
Nate was going crazy in the group chat about it.
Yeah, I got no response. As a Mets batter last night, I was pretty happy to see Brandon Nimmo over the wall.
In my defense, it was Big Brother night last night. It was a very big episode of Big Brother. I was busy.
Very big episode of Big Brother?
Yes.
That's
huge. But that's a different podcast for a different time. Anyway, back to you, Kyle.
Well, yeah, it was a great catch. I mean, it kept the Mets with the lead. And I think if that would have went over the wall, things would have played out differently last night. The Mets bullpen is, I mean, other than the back end of the pen, and to me, it's not that good. So you just don't know what you're going to get if that game ends up tied. But what do? They found a way. They did what the Yankees have not done, and that's the difference, right?
Yeah, I know the Mets, and we'll touch on this actually in the notes portion of this here in a little bit. Is they do have some reinforcements coming for the bullpen anyway. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because, again, you look at, for instance, yesterday, Jacob deGrom on the bump obviously gets the win, but the only offense, really, like I mentioned, was the Marte 2-run home run, the first, the only 2 runs for the Mets yesterday, and deGrom gave up a solo shot, which was, his lone earned run. And it was, look, it's big, right? Because we mentioned, right, it's kind of funny how the world works, how, when deGrom and Scherzer are on the mound, sometimes that offense, doesn't really give them the run support, but the other guys they do. But you bring up a good point, right? I mean, the Mets have been a team all year that at the very least they at least are hanging around and making it difficult for the team that they're playing.
Yeah, I did find an interesting stat on Twitter too yesterday that I just wanted to read. This is in the last 2 weeks. The Mets have played 8 games against title contenders, which was the Braves, Yankees, Dodgers. They're 2-6. So I just thought that was kind of interesting that they've been playing like postseason teams, and they've kind of struggled a little bit.
It is interesting. I think it's weird how I'm going to phrase this way, but the true indicators, I guess, here for maybe the stretch run aren't so much, the past 2 days and then today rather. But like, I mentioned, right, you need to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. I mean, they have the Nationals coming up this weekend, and then the series right after it's Pittsburgh. I mean, they're in good shape. You should take 4 of 6 in that at minimum,
for sure,
in theory. But like I said, I mean, sometimes it's just not the way it breaks, right? You mentioned, right, 2-6 in those series against the Braves, the Yankees, and the Dodgers so far. But out of those games, they never were out of it. I mean, look at Tuesday, right? 4-3, and it was 3-3 in the 8th inning. On Tuesday. And obviously, right, you don't want your back end of their bullpen or any part of the bullpen to kind of blow it in that sense. But to that degree, like, they were in it. And they also were threatening in the 9th to a point.
My question is, why was Joely Rodriguez pitching in the 8th inning in a tie game when he's been among one of our worst relievers? Yeah,
my only thought is perhaps the usage. I mean, look, there was an off day in between. I don't know if they were trying to stay away from really kind of using, your Trevor Mays and your Seth Lugos all too much, but, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, he's proved it this year that he can do it again. I mean, I would have maybe just stuck Edwin out there and just go ahead. I mean, at this point, you're the Mets. You're going to make the postseason one way or another. Maybe, I don't know, maybe this is a spot where you do Edwin in the 8th. I mean, look, the way the playoffs are now, you tend to use those guys in the higher leverage situations as opposed to just outright in the 9th inning. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it was just interesting to me. I know obviously guys can't pitch every day, but I mean, it was a tie game. I just didn't think that was the best option there.
Right. I will say this. I mean, there's more positives in Met land right now than obviously Yankee land.
Sure.
We're just there. The couple spots with the Mets are I'd say not glaring, but you mentioned, right? I mean, they didn't bolster the bullpen the way that they probably had hoped at the trade deadline, but to that end, they do have reinforcements, and like I said, we'll touch on them in a minute.
Timmy Trumpet going out for last night for Edwin Diaz.
That was awesome.
That's Electric Factory.
By the way, I don't mean to dunk. I mean, I am a Yankee fan, but like, I don't mean to dunk on the Yankees here when I say this, but like, how awesome is it that the Mets have Timmy Trumpet, and the only time the Yankees have anybody come perform live, it's Paul Simon. Like,
Yikes.
yeah,
Yikes.
yeah.
Ouch.
And don't get me wrong, I like some Paul Simon, I like some Simon and Garfunkel, but like, I know what gets some people going? Timmy Trumpets.
Yeah, it seemed like everyone was on their feet. Just the scene was really cool to see.
Right. I mean, and SNY kept it live throughout the whole thing.
I wish I could play the video because I have it up and I want to see it.
Yeah, I think we should probably avoid that
I know,
one.
it's just so electric. I watched it I watched it live, and then I think I watched it like 4 or 5 more
Right.
times before I went to bed.
And then
'cause
what
it was
did he
that
throw?
cool.
Like a 1, 2, 3, 9 pitch, ninth inning. It was
Yeah.
like 9 pitches.
Electric. I mean, it's good to see. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit on here, but it's really awesome to see, Diaz really kind of, figure it back out a little bit. And because look, this was a guy in Seattle. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact he was pinned on the West Coast at the time, I mean, he would have been just as electric to me in the mainstream as he is now. So, all right, let's discuss some news and notes about the Mets. Third baseman Brett Beatty will have surgery to repair a torn ligament in his thumb and will be out the remainder of the regular season. Play came on a diving technically effort, I guess would be the proper way to phrase it. There is some question about availability for the postseason. He is eligible to be on the postseason roster just because of the playing time he has had this year. A lot of this will have to do with how well the first few days out of surgery kind of go in terms of recovery.
Yeah, so with for that timeline, like with that injury, it normally is 5 weeks. So I would expect he's ready in the postseason, but you never know.
Right. And I'll mention this portion of it now because this is going to be pretty big in terms of this. But utility guy Luis Guillorme, he is going to be returning sooner than anticipated.
Yeah, did
from
they
his left groin
say where
strain.
he's going on a rehab assignment? I didn't.
Nothing yet. There's a couple guys who will be having rehab assignments. I'll jump to this one too because there's a bit of a question about where he will officially end up. But Tyler Mago will be going. He'll be assigned his rehab assignment today. Don't know where yet. I would imagine because the Mets are in town. They're home over the weekend against Washington and then on the road to start the week next week in Pittsburgh. It will probably be Syracuse or Binghamton's my bet for really more Mago. I think Guillorme still you're looking at probably late next week at the best for his assignment to officially begin. But he's progressed along far quicker, definitely looking more at the front end of the 4 to 6 weeks rather than the 6 end, which is a positive for them at this point.
And I just thought about it. It's kind of good that these guys already go out on rehab assignments because if it's the end of September, minor league seasons are over,
Right.
and then where do they go? So Brett Beatty might not ever have a rehab assignment because where's he gonna go?
Right. No, 100%. I mean, if you're looking at the early window of the 5 weeks, I mean, that's the week where AAA teams and AA teams only have 3 days of games, Monday through Wednesday. So, yeah, and at that point, there becomes, I guess, really, although for Syracuse, right, there probably won't be as much of an ethical dilemma, but Binghamton, there will be a little bit of an ethical dilemma to that end a little bit, but usually you don't see that too much. I mean, if you're rehabbing, you're rehabbing. But you're right. I mean, do those 3 days really matter at that point? I'd assume probably, and this is a different kind of discussion, but I assume just have him in the big league lineup at that point.
Yeah.
All right, Cookie Carrasco threw 55 pitches in a sim game on Monday and then threw another bullpen session yesterday. All positive at the moment per Showalter and the rest of the Mets staff. So the way it sounds, he'll go again for one more bullpen/sim game. Just depends upon how things really officially shake out with everybody else. But they're not too sure if he will need rehab or not. So I would anticipate maybe one rehab start somewhere. Maybe Syracuse, maybe Binghamton, maybe Brooklyn. I forgot about Brooklyn. Brooklyn could be another spot with the Mets being home this weekend too for Mago. Even forgot about that.
Yeah, just reading these notes, though, the Mets are in such good shape. I mean, they have an easy schedule in September. They're getting players back that obviously are going to be huge in the postseason. They're just in a way better spot looking at the Yankees.
Yeah, and I mean, again, you mentioned it, but left-handed pitcher Joey Lucchesi threw another rehab game with St. Lucie single A yesterday. In between this start and his original rehab start on August 15th, he also threw in relief for St. Lucie. I think it was about August 21st. So the plan is when Lucchese comes back, he's going to be in the bullpen. But that being said, another arm, specifically left-handed, that you can use and definitely take to your advantage. Second baseman Yolmer Sanchez, who is designated for assignment, has been sent to AAA Syracuse. In an interesting move here, the corresponding move with Beatty being placed on the injured list was outfielder Terrence Gore being selected from AAA Syracuse. Gore was signed at really the midway point of the AAA season and has made a very big impact with Syracuse so far, kind of anchoring the bottom half of that lineup, and will have another shot in the big league level here.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw the report. The Mets September call-ups is going to be Devin Marrero and Adonis Medina.
Yep.
So,
yeah, it'll be interesting. I think the Marrero one's a little bit of a probably true positional replacement for Beatty. It'll be interesting, though, I guess, to kind of see, because I'm pleasantly surprised we aren't seeing a couple other guys kind of pop up there. Mainly, I know Vientos kind of sticks out a little bit there.
I don't get what the issue with him is.
I think they're just playing the service time manipulation game with him.
Like, they won't even give him a shot, like, even earlier in the year when Mets fans wanted him up.
I think they're doing the service time thing with him, to be honest. Unfortunately, but...
And I know he wouldn't play every day if he was up, but...
Right.
So maybe that's also factored in. They want him to play every day, but...
Who knows? And then right-hand pitcher Steven Nogasek has been sent to AAA Syracuse to begin his rehab assignment. So Nogasek obviously kind of has been bouncing between Syracuse and the big league club all year a little bit. But look, that's another arm depth-wise to really potentially rely on moving forward.
Yeah, and he did just pitch last night. I remember doing the recap and allowed a run, I think, over an inning. So
not bad. Not bad at all. So the Mets have one game left with the Dodgers. That's this afternoon, a 4:10 first pitch. Let's TBA on Monday. We know who it is now. It's Clayton Kershaw. His first start back since coming off the IL. 7-3 is 2.64 ERA for him against Chris Bassett. 11-7, 3.34 ERA there. Cautiously optimistic here. I know Kershaw record says otherwise, but there have been moments this year where he's really shown, I think, his age a little bit, and the Mets are going to probably bring out that right-hand heavy lineup to go against Kershaw today.
yeah, and I'm wondering, is Kershaw going to be on like a pitch limit today?
Right.
I would assume so. I don't expect him to come out here today and throw 100 pitches, but I don't know. This game's going to be interesting. I know I said that the Dodgers are going to sweep, and that already hasn't happened. So I still got the Dodgers, though, tonight, but we'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. I'll take the Mets winning today. Why not? Damn the Torpedoes. Then after today, I mentioned this a couple of different times over, 3 games against the Washington Nationals tomorrow through Sunday. Good news for everybody here. I'll preface it this way. To be announced across the board for everybody in that series at the moment. Tomorrow night's a 7:10 first pitch on SNY. Saturday is a 7:10 first pitch on SNY. And Sunday, a 1:40 first pitch on SNY. So make sure you catch there. Gary, Keith, Ron, who knows who else they'll have. But
Special guest, maybe.
Timmy Trumpet, who knows? So yeah, I'd imagine, no matter really what the situation here is, I'd imagine a sweep for the Mets over the weekend against Washington.
Oh, for sure.
So, but that's how we mentioned, and this is a perfect transition, right? You beat the teams that you're supposed to beat, even though you're just have to be competitive against them, because the Yankees over the course of this West Coast swing specifically have proven that they simply cannot do that every now and then.
Yeah, they simply are just a mediocre baseball team.
Yeah. So Monday was a 4-3 Yankee loss to the Angels. Jose Suarez picked up the win there. 5-6, 4.10 ERA. Frankie Montas, the loss, moves to 4-11, a 3.94 ERA. Jimmy Herget picks up the save, his 4th. Montas, 6 innings, 8 hits, 4 earned, 6 strikeouts. Aaron Judge went 1 for 2, a home run, 2 walks, an RBI, and run score. Obviously, and Anthony Rizzo also had a solo shot coming in the first inning. I guess I'll start here a little bit, and then we can kind of fully get going a little bit here, because there's a lot to kind of unpack with this series with the Angels. But I didn't think Montas actually threw that bad overall. Just I felt like it was another case of the offense really kind of not putting themselves in position to kind of do things most of the time. I mean, obviously Judge hit what was then his 50th home run of the year with his home run, and Rizzo got the game going a little bit, but they just didn't show up when they really needed to show up. I mean, it's not like this Angels bullpen's that good, or their starters for that matter.
See, I'm kind of a little different. I haven't been too happy with the way his Yankee career started.
No, I don't disagree there.
I mean, the Yankees did give him a 2-0 lead. I know they only finished with 3 runs, which is not a lot, but I mean, their pitching is just like your offense gives you a 2-0 lead, and you just give it right back up the next inning, and that's just tough.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what to take away really from this game. It's just a rough game. You can't lose to the Angels at all. And they did, and then they ended up losing again, and I don't even know what to say anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with the Montas thing either. I mean, he definitely agreed that I think things should be going better than they are. That being said, though, I feel like a lot of it is a vibe thing right now with this team, and I do want to talk about this after we get through the game recaps here. So Tuesday was a Yankee victory, a 7-4 one. Greg Westert picks up the win, 1-0, a 6.23 ERA for him. Mike Mayers took the loss, 1-1, a 5.17 ERA. Aaron Judge, 3 for 5, home run, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. It was his 51st on the year. Anthony Rizzo had another home run, including 2 walks, and Andrew Benintendi, 2 for 5 with a home run, an RBI, and 2 runs scored. Really good game. Obviously, we'll touch on the major news about this with Tyone in just a couple minutes. Obviously, getting hit with the comebacker and being pulled out. But that was a pretty good game for the Yankees at the very least, right? Kind of hope that we would have saw this through the whole series, but sorry about that. Excuse me. Greg Westert really rebounded nicely in this game compared to really the first couple of outings that he had, where there was a lot of I wouldn't say negativity surrounding him, but certainly areas to improve upon, and came in a tough spot and carried the torch for a couple innings.
Yeah, and those 7 runs, I read a stat that night, was more runs than they had scored in their previous 3 games.
So yeah.
So that was quite the win for the New York Yankees.
Yeah. And then last night, a 3-2 loss. Patrick Sandoval got the win, 5-9, a 3.02 ERA. Garrett Cole, the loss, 10-7, a 3.28 ERA. Jimmy Herget picks up the save, his 5th. Cole, 7 innings, 6 hits, 204 Ks. Kept you more than in it at that point. Aaron Hicks, 1 for 2 with an RBI, and then Gleyber Torres, 1 for 2, a double, RBI, and a run scored.
Yeah, Josh Donaldson and Isaiah Kiner fluff a back-to-back errors.
Yeah. So now we can kind of dig into this a little bit. This team, to me at this point, has a lot of striking similarities to the 2017 team. Really good team, borderline history pace at certain points. I don't know what's going on in the clubhouse at this point. I just don't know. I don't know what the vibe's like.
To all these players, it seems like it's great.
Right. I mean, for me, as a player, and now in the coaching realm, the chemistry factor and stuff like that's huge for me. I don't know what's going on. Again, I go back to this. I don't know if Boone gets fired unless Cashman gets fired with him.
Yeah, and with the extension that just happened,
yeah.
I don't know why fans are even discussing firing him.
Right.
The only way I think they would even consider it is if the Yankees did officially blow the AL East.
Yeah.
And the Rays won that division, and then they were a wild card exit. I think maybe that's more of a chance, but if they win the AL East, he's going to be back.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
I mean, and I don't hate Boone. I actually do think – I don't think he's a great manager by any means at this point, but I do think he's good. I think he's good enough to go somewhere and be successful. But I think he's got to do it on his own. I don't think Cashman's running the show to me. I mean, I think a lot of this is just Boone's his puppet. And then we have comments yesterday in the postgame press scrum about, IKF. And, I saw this last night on Bronx Bomber News that in the media scrum that Booney says that, he's one of the best shortstops in the league. And if this was last year, yeah, that's a very true comment and a valid comment. But guess what? It's not 2021. It's 2022.
And then he went on he went on to ask the media like, "Oh, how many errors does he have?" And then nobody answered, and he just sat there with like a smart face on. It's like, dude, like you did not just say that. He could have just said, "Yeah, he made he made an error that he should have, a play that he should have made." But no, he had to add in the best shortstop in the league.
Yeah.
Like, there's no need for that.
It's weird how they're just doubling out at this point. And look, I'm an IKF guy. Honestly, he's a guy I wanted the Yankees to try and take a run at at the deadline last season. And I don't know. At this point I don't know. I just feel like the Yankees are they're spinning the tires, and that's what I get at with this vibe at this point. Like it's giving me 2017 vibes where there were a lot of peaks, man. Like Aaron Judge is the one that strikes me the best. It's like he was just carrying the torch all year in 2017, and just like this year, and who knows, maybe we do lose to Cleveland again. Like it's wild how the similarities are kind of following along with each other all of a sudden.
See, and I think it's time to panic more than ever. I mean, who do they have this weekend? The Rays. If the Rays end up sweeping that series, it goes from 15.5 to 3-game lead.
Yeah.
That's concerning.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to say it's time to panic only because, like, what are we panicking about? The Yankees, we've seen this before with them at this point. Like,
yeah, but
this is a good stat here that right up on the screen. Like, the Yankees finished August 10-18, and the only team worse than them with that record in August, I know this part, is the Tigers. And that's their worst month in more or less since '91, which you ask older Yankee fans, like, that's a dark time in Yankee history. Like, there's just no way around it.
31 years ago.
Yeah. There's no way around it. Like, that was a dark time in Yankee history, and that was a team that literally was not good, right? I mean, I was meaning any spite to any of the guys there because you had guys like Jesse Barfield on the team and team players who were good, but, like, the other guys around them just were not. And look, this team in 2022 should have been destined for greatness the way everything got started, and it's been lost along the way.
This is why I'm saying you should be concerned. I just looked at the schedule. They have 3, obviously, in Tampa Bay this weekend. Then they have 4 with the Twins, who are a playoff contender. And then they play the Rays again for 3.
Yeah.
If the Rays somehow even take 4 of 6 out of those 6 games and Yankees, kind of stumble against the Twins, like, there's time, like, you should be concerned.
Yeah. I'm not saying, like, I'm not concerned or maybe not, like, but, like, for me, it's just, like, we've seen this before. Like, I don't know what, like, I think the time for panicking was, like, at the deadline when, and again, it's rearing its ugly head, right? Is when we trade away, like, a guy like Montgomery who, look, I get he's probably not going to be one of your main studs in October, but, like, you need to get to October 1st to have that opportunity at the end of the day.
Yeah, and then, I mean, obviously we see, like, the Pirates on the schedule, weak teams, but, I mean, that doesn't really matter because they can't even beat the A's. I mean, they won 2 of 4, but that's not acceptable.
The Pirates are playing good ball.
They've lost 15 of their last 19.
Yeah, they've won their last 2, though.
They're cover kings.
O'Neal's getting warm.
They're cover kings, the Pirates. They're like the Houston Texans of football last year.
Yeah. But I'm sure they'll go and lose both games at Yankee Stadium to the Pirates, so it surprised me. And then they got the Brewers. Like, I don't know. There's just games this month that it's like.
It depends. If Pirate A Stack Thompson's on the bump, maybe, but.
I don't know. I would not be surprised if the Rays win the AL East. Especially if they play well, like, when they meet each other.
Yeah, we're entering interesting times when the replies in Yankees Twitter is just, you owe me money if you miss the playoffs at this point and stuff like that. So let's move on to some news and notes here. Anthony Rizzo dealing with the lower back issue again. Kind of seems to be lingering at this point, and it's tough because backs are a tough spot. We've been over this before.
And then he came into the game last night, so it's like,
yeah. Apparently he can be used in spot stuff. I don't know. So Jameson Taillon, this is obviously probably the biggest news and note here going on. Taillon has been diagnosed with a right forearm contusion. This comes after a comebacker from Luis Rengifo struck him on his start Tuesday night. Luckily, X-ray came back negative, no fractures, no nothing. But the swelling was rough at the time, and hopefully here, they're hopeful that he doesn't miss a start. I think it could be possible. Knowing the Yankees, they'll probably play a smart play here. And to be honest, they kind of are. I mean, not to jump ahead, but in what would be Tyone's spot in the rotation, Clark Schmidt is submitted to be throwing against Tampa this weekend.
Yeah, obviously good news on Tyone. I would expect him to miss one start too, especially just knowing the Yankees. But I thought immediately when it happened, I didn't think it was a big deal. But I mean, obviously it's your pitching arm. It's something to be, worried about. But yeah, it's good news on him. He's been pretty reliable for the most part. Better than Montas, I would think. I don't know.
For sure. Aroldis Chapman doesn't have a plan to resume throwing yet. However, the leg infection is continuously improving, which is obviously a big positive at this point. Matt Carpenter has returned to his home in Texas and yet to resume baseball activities. Also, he has not moved away from the non-weight-bearing stage yet either in his rehab. So, obviously, that was known. These fractures, the one he suffered with when he fouled the ball off in Seattle off his left foot. Just everybody's different. We've seen in the past some people return in 3 weeks. Other people's it takes almost a year. So hopefully everything kind of just continues to just heal up for who was for a few weeks really carrying a Yankee offense.
Yeah, if he doesn't resume baseball activities in like 2 weeks, I would start to say that I'm not so sure if we'll see him.
Right. Albert Abreu and Scott Efros both could resume pitching programs. Efros more than likely will go start one today. Abreu would be likely over the course of the next couple days to get his going. Zach Britton threw off a mound. Technically yesterday, I wrote today in the notes on accident, but what are you going to do? He is slated to return to rehab assignments over the weekend with Tampa. Nestor Cortez has also started a throwing program, and Luis Severino will be having a rehab start officially with Tampa tomorrow. Good news here, Harrison Bader has been hitting off a tee and is prepping what is called a 10-day ramp-up to get ready to head to minor league rehab games.
Jeez, we may never see Aaron Hicks when he's activated.
Which is sad. Hicksy, had a big spot yesterday and came up clutch for the Yankees.
Yeah, finally, just put the ball in play. Yeah. I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah. Miguel Castro is thrown off the mound at the Tampa complex. Clay Holmes officially activated off the IL, as we all know. And then some depth moves here. Right-hand pitchers, Tyler Duffy, Jacob Barnes, Wilkin Rodriguez, and then for whatever reason, this guy who I always have bet against this year when he started his handful of games at the big league level, Chichi Gonzalez. Have all been signed to minor league deals. Presuming, obviously, this is just depth pieces for September.
Yeah, Scranton needs a lot of arms. I mean, a lot of trades have happened and a lot of injuries. So
Pretty good numbers for Tyler Duffy there back in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, Duffy was arguably the Twins' go-to guy for a number of years, and just really over the course of the past season and a half, just fallen off for one reason or another. I mean, he was a guy that I remember seeing in Rochester when they had the Twins affiliation. So, I mean, obviously you could catch lightning in a bottle. I feel like more with Duffy than the other three. I think maybe because they're just more known commodities than the other. But the Duffy one actually does get me excited because I think there could be some play to see him at the big league club when it's all said and done by the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm also interested to see what the Yankees September call-ups are, but I think I already know. One, they're going to activate Marwin Gonzalez from the paternity list. So there's 27 guys, and the 28th guy I would expect would be either Andujar or I think LeCastro's down there again.
I don't know. They didn't formally send LeCastro back down yet.
Okay, so I would say Andujar. Other than that, maybe a pitcher.
Yeah,
but I don't know who would be down there that they would have interest in.
Yeah, I'm not too sure either. Maybe it's Salazar.
That would be interesting.
I mean, he's done well. I mean, he was one of my favorite signings that they kind of just randomly brought in there.
Or I guess Florial, but I mean, the thing is you're calling these guys up.
Yeah.
And there's no room really.
Yeah. I plus I think with Bader coming back, I don't know if
unless he's here until Bader comes back. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's just a mental gymnastic loop you'd have to jump through then at that point, I feel like. Anyway, Yankees, you mentioned, right, in Tampa Bay this weekend, off today. The Rays are all TBA on their front for pitching. Friday night, 7:10 on the Yes Network. Domingo Germán gets to start for the Yankees. I mentioned Saturday already, normally Tyone's spot, 6:10 first pitch on Yes. Clark Schmidt will get the call. Excuse me again, I am sorry, I don't know what is going on.
Bless you.
Thank you. I blame the asbestos from Nate's new apartment. Frankie Montas goes Sunday at 1:40 first pitch on Yes. Nate, you didn't like the joke there?
Just a little appalled by that one.
I'm not gonna lie, Nate. You have a
Fake news.
you have a fantastic view from your apartment, though, of the golf course. It's impeccable. There you go.
Love it so far.
Did you see anybody teeing off this morning?
No, not this morning. I didn't take a look out there.
That's lame. You have the optimal view to do the the Muppets, the old Muppets who are in the balcony just roasting people.
Oh yeah.
You could be doing that. Anyway, I don't know. I'd like to imagine the Yankees take 2 of 3 because the Rays, their pitching staff is literally in shambles right now, but I don't know.
Yeah, this is a Rays sweep, and I'm not joking.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I could see that too.
And the Yankees play terrible in the dump, like terrible. From what I remember, they win usually one game of the series. It seems like every time they go there, they'll win one game, and if not, they get swept.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Only a couple minutes really here to really hit our minor league teams up. Rochester and Syracuse. Rochester home this week against Toledo, obviously. Tuesday was a 3-0 loss, but Nate, your guy, Nicky Two-Bags, was literally Nicky Two-Bags in that game. 1 for 2 with a double. Andrew Stevenson and John Nagowski also picked up and pitched in a hit. Yesterday afternoon was a 5-4 loss for the Red Wings. Jake Liu, 2 for 4 with 2 doubles and RBI and a run scored. Nicky Two-Bags again was 2 for 4 with an RBI double. And then new guy on the scene, Wilmer Perez, catcher, went 1 for 1 with a pinch hit RBI triple.
Yeah, first AAA hit. I saw on the notes.
So,
pretty cool.
Good for him. Right-hand pitcher Zach Birdie has been assigned to Single-A Wilmington from Rochester. Catcher Israel Pineda was assigned to Rochester from Double-A Harrisburg. And right-hand pitcher Corey Abbott's been recalled by Washington. Reminder that Rochester is home through the weekend. Plenty of action. Should be some decent weather as well to get out and watch them play. Syracuse, they're down in Scranton. Battling not only the Rail Riders, but also weather. Tuesday, was postponed due to rain. And then last night, a 6-1 loss to the Rail Riders. JT Riddle, 3 for 4 with an RBI double. Travis Jankowski went 1 for 4 with a walk, a run scored, and a stolen bag. Nick Plummer went 2 for 3 with a double, a walk, and also a stolen base. So tough stuff there for the Mets, obviously. Right-hand pitcher Josh Hedgeka has been assigned to Double-A Binghamton from Syracuse. That was a move as outfielder Jake Mangum has returned to Syracuse from Double-A Binghamton. Catcher Jose Colina has been transferred to the development list. Syracuse, they have a doubleheader today against the Royal Riders and finish out the weekend down there. Hopefully, these teams, right? I mean, this gets some positivity going again there this week. Obviously, Rochester was in both games so far against Toledo. I mean, that's a strong team. A lot of Tigers' top prospects are just there at this point because Detroit's a mess and a half anyway. And then, I'd expect Syracuse to probably at least get 2 against the Royal Riders at this point, just the way that they've been playing lately.
Yeah, I would say probably 2 games. But my takeaway from the one game is if Mike Montgomery is your starter, you're probably not going to win the game.
Well, he's got to be the de facto 5th guy at this point, right?
I mean,
either him or I don't mean to dunk on, but me and Nate saw Harold Gonzalez last Thursday in person. That was rough.
Seems like Mike Montgomery just throws batting practice most of the time.
Yeah.
What about our friend Ben Rotvelt? Is he still playing?
Oh yeah, he went 1 for 4 yesterday for Scranton. So I don't know if he's actually a person, but his box score did indicate that he played.
Any shot he puts on the pinstripes this year?
No. Not at this point.
And even if he does, he wouldn't be eligible for the postseason.
Right. Okay, right.
I would imagine he might be taking Higgy's place on the roster next year. I don't know. That's just my thoughts, but that's a different thought.
I think the Yankees are going to be done with a lot of guys.
Yeah, but that's a different thought and a different process line for a different day. So,
And Aaron Judge is the most important one that they have to make a decision on, right?
well, I think they might have made a decision already in a way.
I don't feel as confident as I did.
No, I don't
Him
blame.
coming back. at
Don't
least.
blame you. Don't blame you.
We'll have to do a special edition portion for him towards the end of this year, right? We have some downtime.
Well, I mean, it all depends,
the
right?
season.
We'll have to see how postseason kind of goes for the teams and stuff like that. So,
One quick thought:
Yeah.
Gleyber Torres is on his way out. There's no way they keep him. Definitely trade him. I know he's not going to be worth a ton, but you're still going to.
somebody will take a flyer on him. He's still got enough of a bat that somebody would take a shot.
Yeah, I would not expect to see him next year.
I
Especially,
don't know. I think it depends how things shake out on the other side of the infield. To be honest with you,
Yeah, we'll see though.
that's just my thought. I mean, I'd assume try and get rid of Donaldson first before Gleyber, but you know,
And nobody's taking Aaron Hicks's contract, so let's stop with that.
I don't know about that. That's a friendly one, but again, different thought process for a different day. All right, so that takes care of Concrete Jungle for today. Again, just a reminder, programming note: no show Monday. Plan to be back with our usual later week spot next week because of Labor Day, or as Nate enjoys calling it, Gleyber Day. Have an awesome weekend. Any big plans for the long weekend?
I'm looking forward to that Syracuse football game Saturday night.
I hate you so much. As a proud season ticket holder, I hate you so much.
Give me a score prediction, Kyle.
40-10.
Oh, Jesus
Louisville.
Christ. Wow. Nate, anything fun for you?
My Gleyber Day will be spent down at Sampson State Park.
Enjoying the great
Family,
outdoors?
So that'll be your Seneca Lake Resorts, excuse me. But that'll be a good time. Looking forward to that. Spend some time with some family, some R&R, and we'll get back in here on Tuesday.
Don't get attacked by bears. I know they're very big and scary down at Samson. There are no bears at
That's
Samson.
nothing I've heard of before.
Watch out for boats. Anyway,
We do have those.
yes. Anyway, Concrete Jungle. Catch us here on YouTube Live. Want to catch up anytime on YouTube as well. Anchor, Spotify, other major podcasting platforms. Have a enjoyable, fun, safe, long Labor Day weekend. We'll catch everybody here next week. See you, everybody.